Dear founders, whether you are building a service business or a product business, you always have to build a product for your organization. It is your responsibility. And that product is your environment. The environment in your organization has to be built by you. If you do not build it, it will be built by your team members. And they have less ownership, less awareness about how value gets created. So it often spirals back into toxicity. When toxicity becomes your culture, people cannot share failures. People cannot acknowledge mistakes. Teams don't take ownership. Teams get into firefighting mode. People steal credits. When you do not build your environment deliberately, your entire team gets into zero-sum game mode where everyone sees the other as an opponent. The focus of your team moves away from customers into each other. So build your product. Before that, build your environment, design it. Here are some of the suggestions to build a better environment. First, have a conviction that environment of your organization decides your culture. There are two fears that an organization usually has. One is accountability fear, and second is execution fear. Accountability fear is a fear that every organization should have for the employees to work, commit, take ownership. Build your environment in such a way that there is no execution fear. The execution fear, when it exists, it cuts the feedback loop. People cannot ask questions. Teams work in silos to protect their own boundary, to protect their zone. People hoard information with themselves. People do not align with each other whenever a major release comes because they cannot ask questions. Cut the execution fear. So design the environment in such a way that there is no space for execution fear. As you expand beyond, say, a 10-member team, the realities from your new employees will never reach you. But when you deliberately build your environment as a product to provide execution safety, then the questions from different layers of your organization reach you. You don't know all of them. But when your team feels that my thoughts are listened here, I am listened to, I am respected, they're more likely to surface realities from the market, from the Reddit blog they read, from the Twitter thread they read, and keep inputting all those ideas, intelligence back into your company. That is not something that you can purchase with money. And slowly it builds ownership mindset for your team because they know that whatever I'm learning, I can share it to my manager, my boss. So design your environment in such a way that people can ask questions. Also, design your environment in such a way that people can acknowledge their mistakes. Why should they acknowledge mistakes? The feedback loop from each individual back to you comes through your communication channel, Slack. It carries two kinds of information which are critical for the organization. One is breakthrough insights and ideas. Second, key information that predictability to your business, but are wrapped in a negative signal. So these two are very critical for an organization to prevent disasters, to create breakthrough ideas. But it's the same channel through which your team will share stupid ideas, will ask stupid questions. So what a normal busy person will do? They're going to shut the person who is going to share stupid ideas, stupid questions. Now, an employee, a junior employee, or even a manager who reports to you, when their idea gets shot down, even if it is stupid, they're going to be blocked. They're going to block their feedback loop with you. And this will happen at every other level. Every time someone rejects an idea badly, the feedback loop within your organization is dead. Now imagine this happening at different levels in your organization. If you do not build your environment deliberately, your organization has only people whom you can delegate tasks and then get the work done. They do not do anything beyond their given work. They don't take ownership, they don't share information, which is how a siloed organization develops. Now, if you reject a bad idea in a better way, your team is more likely to protect the feedback loop with you, with their manager, with their peers. And what happens now? The same person, when they get a breakthrough idea, which they read somewhere in a Reddit thread or a LinkedIn post or in a YouTube video, they're going to surface it back to the organization. They're going to be excited to share it to their manager, to their peer. And at each level, they're going to share the information excitedly with their superiors. And eventually, your direct reportees are going to share it to you because you appreciate these kind of insights. But one bad rejection is often likely to turn off the entire feedback loop. It is 1 or 2 minutes of time to gently reject a bad idea or a suggestion. All it takes is say, thank you for your suggestion. Thank you for taking the effort to think in this perspective, but we are not going ahead with this for X reason. When you reject it in a gentler way, two things happen. First, your team still has a connection with you. The feedback loop is alive. It is protected. The second thing, your team is developing an ownership mindset with you. The connection over the time creates a bond with the organization, which is what you call it as loyalty. They're going to talk about this in their family dinner, to their kid, to their friends and families. And that is going to have an impact on your employee acquisition cost. And the third thing is, when these employees work on a product, work on a service, work on a model, they are going to ensure that the same connection is established with the client, with the customers or client as well. The code they are going to develop is not going to have any dead ends. The code will not ghost. There will be proper error handling because they had the space to ask questions. Different applications will behave the same way because different teams align with each other. The web, the front end, the mobile app, iOS and Android, all of them behave relatively in a similar way because all the teams have synced up with each other. If you have not deliberately built your environment, the teams should have formed silos and the Android engineer wouldn't know what the iOS engineer built. The front-end engineer wouldn't know what the Android team built. How the way error handling happens will be totally different across different systems. Now, because you have built the environment meant for safely admitting mistakes, asking questions, to feel stupid and be okay with it, your teams align with each other and the silos are broken. And this has a greater impact on the customer's lifetime value because there is something called as Conway's law. You might know. Conway's law says that the teams and its communication pathways, how they communicate, how the hierarchy works, how the silos form, they have a direct relationship on the way the modules, the services, the components are built. If two teams don't often interact, the way the modules interact also suffers from the same problem. I'm extending this into the realm of customers as well. The communication pattern within your organization will have a direct impact on your customer experience. If the API team and the mobile team doesn't have a great communication, then you will have API errors which cannot be easily captured, which will have unknown errors thrown at the app for the user. There are several such cases where users will feel the pain using the application because of the poor environmental design within your organization. So please make the choice to build your environment deliberately. I am Radhakrishnan, author of Silent Notes Lost Dollars. My upcoming book is Zero Maintenance Teams, where I talk about building the environment in your organization. Thank you.